very short. What we need to do, those of us who traverse this world, is to ensure that we leave a legacy of hope and prosperity for those to follow. Because our life is just physical in the evolutionary process of life. And that is what I want to remember in NPNI for. My final point when it comes to NPNI, history is important. Some people don't like to hear history. And I think that he was a brave guy because anybody who took the chance then in 1999, 2000, to resign their jobs, etc., and to contest against a party that was mighty with a lot of money, is about sacrifice. It's about believing and standing for something. And that the commitment and the reassurance to the people that you seek to represent, not they have your back, but you have their back. And I believe that's what AMPNA stands for. Mr. Speaker, I want also to join my colleague minister to really, express my sympathy and that of my wife, and to the family and friends of Honorable Melissa Popon. I've lost my both parents. And my father lived almost 90 or something. My mother died at 72. My mother and I were very close. And I have difficulty in going to funerals. And I'm saying it's not a nice thing. Your life is never the same after the passing of your parents. And I'm standing there because Mr. Popon represented something, his generation, that we too, current generation, must learn from. Laudable, noble, embracing industry and hard work. And the need to uphold and to preserve fundamental principles, some of them rooted in the Bible, embracing procreation, family. And I believe those things that we can laugh at one, but very importantly, those are virtues that they exemplify. And I can recall as a young detective, I was still a recruit. I bought my first Jigger boots in 1985. In 1985, my first Jigger boots in 1995 from my father's store. They used to give me discount. That's that Jigger boots. So, you see? And so you had the buy trainees, you had Barter, Continental Store, etc. And I believe it's for us, and generation now, and those who are after us, my God, to understand that those people who walk this earth before us represent the class, excellence, family, and those are things we need to learn from. And I believe that most importantly, and they still like Best Cambodia and Mao. And every time they dress, immaculately dressed in white. We forget that. In white. So may your soul rest in eternal peace, Mr. Speaker. And my sympathies again, and my wife won't join me, to wish you and the family all the best. Thank you very much.
I rise to extend our condolences and solidarity to the government and people of Venezuela, and to the President of Venezuela, Her Excellency Delcy Rodriguez, on the catastrophic earthquakes which devastated the Venezuelan Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. This is a huge task for the government of Venezuela to respond to, and we continue to pray for the leadership of Venezuela, for the people of Venezuela as they go through this most difficult period in modern history. The Venezuelan people are resilient people, they are resourceful people, and we have no doubt that they will recover from this disaster. We continue to hope that the international community will continue to extend its solidarity to the government and people of Venezuela in this most trying time. Anyone who knows history will know of the extraordinary generosity of the government and people of Venezuela, not only to us in Dominica, but nations all over. And I see His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Board of the Republic of Venezuela to Dominica in the gallery, and I want to say to him that the Venezuelan people are not alone, that we will continue to stand in solidarity with them as a people and as a country. Because at every period in our history, from the time we gained our independence in 1978, the Venezuelan people have been standing by our side. And the record of their contribution is rooted in every community in Dominica. And so we stand in absolute solidarity with the President of Venezuela and the government and people of Venezuela, and our prayers continue to reach out to them as they go through this most trying and difficult circumstance. I also want to remember the memory and the life of Honorable Ian Pinard, a very close friend of mine for more than 30 years, and someone who made a huge contribution to Dominica's development. He was a person who always loved hard work and who was always able to deliver. There's no time that I would have given Ian Pinard a task where I had to turn my back to see whether he was doing it. I could always rely on his ability to take on any task and to get it done in a very constructive, positive, and fulfilling manner. To his family, his children, and his entire family, we continue to pray for you, and we'll continue to stand in solidarity with you. And we pray for his soul, and we do hope that all of us will find courage and confidence in his contribution to Dominica and the impact which he had on every one of us who interacted with him over a period of time. I also want to extend condolences to the family of the late Macmillan John Baptist, a local businessman who made a huge contribution to Dominica's economic development, created jobs and invested in Dominica. Someone who stayed in Dominica through all of its challenges, entire life in Dominica. And I have great regard for people who have stayed in Dominica, notwithstanding the challenges. Whether it's hurricane, whether it's attempted coup, whatever it was, Mr. Speaker, these people remain in Dominica, show the confidence in our country, and also, in a sense, show the gratitude for what Dominica has done for them. So our memories are. And of course, to the family of Otis Francis, a really unfortunate accident on the port. We mourn his loss. He was a diligent worker from all reports, and even if it's the first time it's happened, but it's something that we would have wished did not happen. But such is life, and we accept life as it is, and we pray for his family as they go through this challenging period. I also want to extend as not in my private capacity, but as the Prime Minister of the country, to thank everyone, for the extension of condolences to our family at this time. My wife's father having passed away. Whenever I met a lot of married men and so on, they always used to tell me what their wives used to say to them. And they always had to reference Mr. Popon and tell the boy, that's how you have to behave, boy, that's how you have to be, and so on, because everywhere Mr. Popon was, you could see his wife standing next to him diligently and so forth. Extraordinary family man. But I must say, Mr. Speaker, that I am confident, and I do not think I will be contradicted by anyone to say that I believe I had the best father-in-law in the world. And he was married for more than 54 years. I believe I'll break a record, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, I think I'll break a record and so on. So I give him that assurance I'll break a record. But I first encountered him in 1999, a couple of days before I got launched as a candidate in the Vickers constituency, December. And thankfully, he made a contribution actually to my launch in Vickers. And throughout my first term, and so that's before I met Melissa, so it's not because I met Melissa and so on. That was before. And then he made a second contribution to my re-election in 2005. And then during my first term as power rep, he would have made contributions to my back-to-school program, which I had as a power rep of Vickers, buying shoes for the less fortunate students in my constituency. So I have some very interesting memories of him. Extraordinary gentleman, very generous beyond boundary. Always good advice, sound advice, and always a pleasant engagement with him. And one of the things I am thankful to my wife for is that every Sunday she would take the children to see them. So for the entire life, they have been going to the home every Sunday to interact with the grandparents and so forth. And they had the greatest love and admiration for him. And of course, it was really reciprocal. I want to, it's a very difficult thing for his wife or to be somebody for so many years and the person no longer there. So one can appreciate the tremendous emotions. So we're very grateful for this, and for me personally, it was really an honor to have known him and be part of his family, and the impact he's had, so positive and constructive. He will be laid to rest on August 8th at the cathedral. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, parliamentary colleagues, I'll also like to join the rest of my colleagues in expressing condolences to Honorable Minister Poponskere on the passing of her father. Having recently lost a parent, my mom, I sympathize with you. And as Minister Blackmore said, losing a parent changes your life. And everyone says that time will heal. We'll see. But on behalf of my family and myself, condolences to you and to the rest of your family. I pray that God will continue to give you everything you need to go through this period. It will take a lot. But God is faithful. And He will continue to see us through. I'd like to join the Prime Minister as well, expressing solidarity for the People's Republic of Venezuela. Whenever a neighboring country or a friendly country goes through a disaster, it shouldn't take much from us to express solidarity with them. Because like them, Dominica has experienced catastrophic disaster. And I don't think I think we may see some more. Because like a great man I know likes to say, we sitting in the path of the hurricane and we can't move the country. And we should always remember when we went through our trying times, countries like those stood with us and they sent the support and they sent arms and help and material. And however we can, as individuals and as an administration, as a people, we should always stand in solidarity with our neighbors and our friends. Mr. Speaker, while I'm still on my feet, is obituary and congratulatory remarks. I'd like to end on a positive note by congratulating Mr. Addison James for continuing to excel in the area of sports. In April of this year, he won gold at the Carifta Games. Also in April of this year, he won gold at the Penn Relay. Games, being the 5th athlete in history to win the HSB Javelin event, gold at the Jamaica National Senior Champs event in June, gold at the 2026 NACA Under 18, Under 23 Championships held in July. And today, he will be participating in the World Athletics Under 20 Championships. Well, not today, but the games start today. And we want to congratulate him and to wish him well as he continues to put Dominica on the map, continues to demonstrate the true behavior of a champion, discipline, and athletic prowess. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Laville, then Opposition Leader, then Honorable Lockhart. May you pull it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and good morning to everyone in this honorable chamber. Mr. Speaker, I rise with a deep sense of pride and gratitude as I also recognize Addison James. 2 gold medals back-to-back Carifte Games. This is nothing short of outstanding, and we must all congratulate him in a most special way. I also seek to recognize Thea Lafont for, again, standing tall and proud on the world stage by accomplishing yet another medal, this time gold at the Commonwealth Games. We are exceedingly proud of her. She continues to be a flag bearer for Dominica and to raise us higher and higher on the world stage. Thea, we are extremely proud of you. And also to all the athletes who recently did exceptionally well at the inter-school games, we congratulate you and we stand with you. I also wish Mr. Speaker, in this greatest sense of camaraderie and deep sense of solemnity, to express my most sincere condolences to Mr. Ian Pinard, Mr. McMillan, Mr. Otis Francis, Mr. Fabian, and also Mr. Valentine Popon. Mr. Speaker, I know many times when we speak of great people, we speak of their achievements, what they have done, the visible, the tangible, but behind that, you have people. In this case, a man like Mr. Popon, you have someone who was in fact a father, and fathers are those who stand between you and the world when you are very little. They give you that sense of security, that protection, that extra sense that I am with you, that you are not alone, that pillar, that support. And today, Mr. Speaker, this will really in fact be the first time that, Honorable Popon Skerrit is standing without that pillar. I know she has others, like a dear husband, son-in-law, but it must be very hard. And I really must commend her in a massive and remarkable way for showing that strength to be even here present with us today. This must be hard. And Mr. Speaker, I continue to stand with her and stand with them on behalf of all our colleagues, the comrades on this side of the house, and this side also, in this human sense and spirit. We stand with you all. May God continue to bless you all, protect you all, and may the legacy of this great man continue to live on. God bless you.
Mr. Speaker, I rise also to express my condolences to Honorable Melissa Skerrit. On behalf of the parliamentary opposition, we would like to extend our deepest condolences to Honorable Melissa Skerrit and her immediate and extended family on the passing of her father, Mr. Valentine Popon. Mr. Speaker, the loss of a beloved, especially a parent, which I can attest to because I lost my mom the same year that I became parliamentary representative. It is one of life's deepest sorrows. During this difficult time, our thoughts and our prayers are with you, your family, your relatives, and loved ones as they continue to mourn this significant loss. Mr. Speaker, I remember Mr. Valentine as a wonderful, cheerful individual. I knew him personally. He had always had a warm smile and would welcome you every time that you get to the shoe store. I remember growing up when I went to high school in the early 90s, my mom would always take me to Valentine and she would say, "Si ou pat ap yon sou le kote Valentine's, ou peke ali l'école." If I do not get a shoe at Mr. Valentine's, I will not go to school. And every time I would always ask for like a discount, which he would always give. He was that much of a very nice person. And those words cannot ease the pain of such loss. I hope that the cherished memories and the support of family and friends will provide comfort in the days ahead. May his soul rest in peace. Mr. Speaker, while I'm on my feet, I would also like to extend condolences to the family and friends of Mr. Macmillan John Baptist, one of Dominica's longest serving fuel retailers. He was an exemplary businessman who was dedicated to serving the people of Dominica. Even at his age, Mr. Mack served his customers diligently, employed people, and contributed to the economy of Dominica. I remember Mr. Mack, he always called me, "Pretty nice lady." And I would say, "How are you, Mr. Mack?" And he'd say, "Well, I'm here climbing up a greasy pole." And when I heard of his passing, it really touched me. Dominica's business community, and especially the petroleum sector, they have lost one who have gained much respect from all. His passing marks the end of a remarkable career, defined by hard work, perseverance, and decades of service to the nation. May he too rest in peace. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to extend my condolences to Mr. Ian Pinard. I got to know Mr. Ian Pinard when I became the parliamentary representative for the Roseau South constituency in 2019. And he has always been a friend to the South. And so he also contributed to my own personal growth and development as a politician. Mr. Pinard, as the speakers before me said, that he was a very hardworking person. At one point, I thought that Mr. Pinard was still a parrot, because whenever you called Mr. Pinard, he would answer. If he was in a meeting, he would send a message to say, "I'm in a meeting, I'll call you back." And when he said to you he'd call back, he did. And so I want to extend my sympathies to his family and friends, and may his soul continue to rest in peace. I too want to extend my condolences to Mr. Macmillan John Baptist. As many of you would know, that he had one of his main businesses in the Castle Comfort area. And what I would recall is that Mr. John Baptist was very stern, a no-nonsense businessman. Mr. Speaker, if you were thinking of coming to Kwedi or credit a cylinder or gas or oil from Mr. Macmillan, he would not have that. You would have to change your mind about that and probably wait when one of his sons come, Roland, and ask Roland for that little discount. But he was a very hardworking gentleman. I know his sons. I'm very close to all three of them. Currently, Roland is at the hospital, and I want to wish him a speedy recovery. But Mr. Macmillan contributed to the fuel retail sector, and he was a very prominent businessman who served Dominica very well, and so may his soul continue to rest in peace. While I'm on my feet, I want to extend my condolences to Honorable Melissa Skerrit and our Prime Minister and the rest of the Popon family who lost their dad. I always, when I speak of Mr. Popon, I would always say to Honorable Skerrit, Melissa Skerrit, that my dad worked with her father for many years, and she was always trying to remember, who's my father? I told her, well, he was the one who always came to paint your home. And so she finally met him some time ago. But Mr. Popon, I can recall a very nice, very, very humble businessman. And so I want to extend my condolences, myself and my husband too, Honorable Melissa, on the passing of her dad. And I want to say to her that we are there with you, and you're in my thoughts and in my prayers. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Brother Alfred, then Honorable Defoe.
Mr. Speaker, I stand on behalf of the government of Dominica to extend gratitude to the government of the Republic of China, of Cuba, for the investment in our human resource. And at the same time, I congratulate our 10 students who completed their medical degree and they are returning home as doctors from Cuba. So we thank you, because when you invest in the human resource of our nation, you are investing in the future of this nation. I also want to take a little minute to extend condolences to the family of Mr. Gary Massicot, our driver who worked in the Ministry of Education, who passed just like that. Just recently, I mean, nobody was expecting that. And Mr. Speaker, I wouldn't sit without extending condolences to my cabinet colleague, my friend, and one of my classmates from New York messaged me and said, you remember when Mr. Valentine gave us the discount and you nearly make us leave it? You know, Mr. Speaker, that was in 1980. Grammar school girls shopping for shoes, about 6 of us, and we end up by Valentine. And this tall, handsome, nice eye, thick curly black hair man came over to help us. Yes, at that time you are a young girl, so that's what you see. Even if you're not watching, that's what you see. And what's a joke? And he was going for boxes for us and bringing shoes and saying which one would look better on our feet. And we went to the cashier in the end, $39.95, and he says, take $30, and we're looking at each other, and you know who's the first. Then I said, thank you, but we can't receive money from strangers. So that's why my friend said, you almost make us lose our discount. And then the cashier said, it's okay, he's the owner of this store. But Mr. Speaker, I say all this to say that people remember him as an exceptional business person. That is extraordinary, because the owner of the store was in the store and he was serving us as if we were the only customers in this store. That is what you are looking for that you may not find now. But what he did was that he secured customers for the rest of our school lives, and long after we left school, some of us will still go to the shoe store. So this morning, I see so much of him in her, you know, and I understand the loss, you know, between the bond too, between father and daughter, but I also know that she has the support around her, and I pray that God will give her strength. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I rise to offer a message of condolences to my parliamentary colleague, the Honorable Melissa Popon-Skerrit, and her immediate family. Mr. Speaker, this is on behalf of the entire Petite-Savane constituency, and especially the people from Fort Saint-Jean. I mean, I had around surrounding Fort Saint-Jean, Fab, Bagatelle. And the reason that being, Mr. Speaker, that Mr. Popon lineage is also from Fort Saint-Jean. So he's very affectionately known and well known, but perhaps because we speak Creole so much, I think we know him more of the French version to his name, Valentin. So if you go up there, you say Valentine and all of the other names, you know, people know Valentin. And very fortunate that in my time, in our generation, that you were given very strict instructions when you go into Roseau, that you could go nowhere else. You have to go and get your shoes
and whatever else it is, straight to the store. So this is the level of affection and patronage and how deeply the community of Fonseca knows Mr. Popon. So they are all very saddened, and from the time that we learned of his news, everybody has been inquiring about, the Honorable Popon's care with his family, and also that they show their overwhelming support to the family. So with this, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to express my sincere condolences to the family and friends of the late John Fabian, a national youth cricketer and a coach from the village of Kalibishi. I had the opportunity to play alongside John Fabian on the 19 level, and I must say that there was never a dull moment when John is involved. He was a very good, very decent all-round cricketer, and he brought life both on the field and off the field. And I just want to say, let's keep our prayers, let's keep the family and friends in our prayers. And I just want to wish everyone involved, including the members of the Cricket Association, the various clubs which he represented, and teams, I just want to reach out to them and ensure that they are okay. Mr. Speaker, I also want to join my colleagues in expressing my condolences to the Honorable Member for Roseau Central, Honorable Skerrit, on the passing of her dad. I personally lost my dad a few years ago, and it's not an easy road. So I just want to ensure that we can have them in our prayers, and of course, our former colleague, Ian Pinard, who was a very, very hardworking gentleman from our reports. I just want to say that let's keep them in our prayers and ensure that they're okay. Mr. Speaker, I also want to take some time to express our heartfelt congratulations to Addison James on securing yet another gold medal for Dominica, this time at the NACAP Championships in 2026. And just to say that Addison has become a household name in Dominica for his exploit in the sport of javelin. He continues to make us proud, and he has served as a source of inspiration for many young persons in Dominica. And we continue to recognize and appreciate the exploits of Addison James in the sport of javelin. And undoubtedly, Addison James is on a journey to greatness, Mr. Speaker, and obviously that journey will take a lot of hard work, a lot of determination, a lot of preparation, and of course, a strong mind and a support system. And to assist him in this journey, Mr. Speaker, the government will provide him with a monthly stipend to just meet some of the expenses of Addison James, and to ensure that he have the tools required to continue to train and represent us well on the regional and international stage. And furthermore, Addison James will also be appointed as the new sports ambassador effective September 1st, 2026. My call to Addison James is to continue putting in the hard yards, continue making us proud, and continue to fly the flag high. Congratulations to him, and we will continue to support him as we have done with all our athletes, Mr. Speaker. Quickly, if you permit me, I also want to again record our sincere congratulations to Fia Lafont on securing gold in the women's triple jump at the Commonwealth Games. She jumped a distance of 14.6 meters, which is an extraordinary feat, Mr. Speaker. And I was advised that this is the first time Dominica was able to secure a gold medal in such an event at the Commonwealth Games. So we are very delighted for this, and of course we congratulate her in a special way. I also want quickly to mention the athletes Danik Luke and Jasmine Schofield, Mr. Speaker, who had good performances in the 400-meter hurdles and the 200 swimming freestyle, respectively, Mr. Speaker, at the Commonwealth Games. So we appreciate their efforts, and of course we continue to support them, and of course we encourage them to continue doing what they do on our behalf. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I also want to highlight the efforts of our delegation at the inter-schools competition. We have over 60 young students who participated in that competition, and from all reports, they did well. They represented Dominica very well, and of course, a number of them, including teams, received gold medals, which we'll highlight very soon. So I just want to take the opportunity to continue to urge our athletes to do well in sports. You have an opportunity for both your personal and national development, and as a government, we'll continue to support them in every way that we can. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, I saw Honorable Poppins-Skerrit, Honorable Poppins-Skerrit, and then we'll maybe take one more after so we can move on. Honorable Poppins-Skerrit.
Good morning. I rise to express my deepest gratitude to the President, Her Excellency Sylvanie Burton, members of this Honorable House, my fellow colleagues and comrades, on expressing their condolences on the passing of my beloved father. It is a very difficult time because, we've always been a very close-knit family, especially my mom, who's been with him since she was 18 years old, and she's 74 now. So it's a very difficult place to be now. Although for the past few months, he prepared us. He prepared me. I was very close to him, and he was continuously stating that, he'll be fine, don't worry. He has to cross the bridge because he's going home. Don't worry, don't cry, be strong. But there's no amount of preparation that can prepare you for when the reality of death hits you. My father was very instrumental, I would say, in the 2019 when I was trying to capture the seat of Roseau and bring the seat of Roseau Central to Labour. And throughout my campaign, I remember meeting a number of people from Roseau who said to me that they were not supporters of the party, but they knew my father, and my father took care of them as a child. They were raised in poverty, and he assisted them with school, or he sent people to Guadeloupe for medicals, groceries, just all types of assistance. In fact, this is where I experienced my first Red Clinic in Valentine's, because he was good to a lot of people. And so because of that, they said to me that this was the only way of showing their gratitude to him, by giving me the support. I would like to, on behalf of my family, say heartfelt thank you to the outpouring of love and support from people across Dominica and abroad who have been reaching out, sending prayers, visiting, cards, messages, beautiful bouquets of flowers to the house. I want to sincerely thank you for the support during this time. It means a lot to us. And I also want to say to my constituents, there are hundreds of messages from you, and I just have not been able to muster up the emotional energy to respond. But I see you, I hear you, and I thank you for being there for me and my family during this trying time. To my office staff and the ministry, thank you for holding it down for me during this time. May the good Lord continue to bless all of us and continue to grant eternal peace, rest, full peace, and perpetual light on my beloved father. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I would like to send my sincere condolences to the family of Mr. Ian Pinard. I started interacting with Ian when I became a parliamentarian very often, and oftentimes when you always have to be calling on people for favors, you sometimes get a little bit hesitant because you think maybe the person might get tired with you because you feel like you're always troubling them or something. But you never get that feeling with Ian. Every time you call Ian to ask him for a favor, to ask him for help, and he had a lot of different ways that he could help you, he's always so warm and so welcoming, and he's like, hey, comrade, and he wouldn't just help you with what you need, he will guide you on how it's better to take advantage of it. And so, you know, calling Ian was always easy, calling him, asking him, you know, give somebody a job there for me, always very, very nice to deal with. A fun fact about sharing a surname with Ian is that I got a lot of congratulations for things that he did. Yeah, oftentimes my phone would ring, hey, congratulations, man, I hear you get the job on the port. And that was Ian, and different things like that. And sadly as well, when he passed, my phone rang quite a few times, people checking up to see if I was alive. But so, sincere condolences to his family. I also want to give my condolences to the family of Macmillan. I first got to know that family as a little boy in Citrone. My mom is from Citrone, so I spent quite a lot of time in Citrone as a child. Now, Macmillan lived in Citrone with his family. And back in those days, we didn't have TV. The only person that had a TV around was Macmillan. And what they used to do is they used to leave the window open by a big step, so all of us could pull up and watch TV through that window, and so on. And so I was very good friends with his sons, his three sons growing up, and up to today, we remain close. And so I just want to express my sincere condolences to them on the passing of their father. They encountered in that earthquake so soon after so soon after they lost their president. And so my heart's felt condolences to the many people who have lost their family in the earthquake that passed. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to say condolences to 10 families in my constituency. 8 from Collier, 1 from Bioche, 1 from Dublin. In the past couple months, we had an unusually high number of deaths in Collier. We had both young and old and unusual. We had people like Bernard Gabriel. We had Gad, the Andrew family. We had Matthew George. We had Vernie Philogene. We had Carla Parilon, Atlee Parilon, Hamlet, which is Casimir Bernard. We had Fedelin Leblanc. All these 8 people died in Collier in the past couple months. In Bioche, we had Nita Joseph, and in Dublin, we had Tadone, that is Joan Casimir. These are all people that I consider to be friends, and people I visited, people I would hug, people they would invite me into their homes. We would have good conversations and so on. And so the loss has been strongly felt by myself and the people of the community. So I would just like to express condolences to all these families who have lost friends and family in the constituency. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, it would be remiss of me not to extend my profound and sincerest condolences to the Honorable Popon Skerrit, and also to our Prime Minister on the passing of Melissa, your dad, and Honorable Prime Minister, your dad-in-law. Also, in regards to Mr. Macmillan, again, his sons, all of them are my good friends. I went to school in Marcus in primary school, so again, I extend my deep sympathy to the family. And Otis Francis, Mama is your grandmother, and your grandmother is the grand aunt of my niece, so I want to extend that. And also, most, I would say, an inspiring parliamentarian, Honorable Ian Pinard, good friend, so I would like to extend condolences to the family. Again, it will be remiss of me not to place on record the extension of sympathies to the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and the people. Ambassador, I would like you to extend my sympathies and the other members of Parliament on their behalf who didn't get an opportunity to extend this to your country, your president. And also, Cuba, we thank you. You have always been there with us. We know also China, and we want to just extend our thanks. And finally, as a former sportsman, it would be remiss of me not to again big up our athletes, TLR4 and Addison James. Again, thank you.
Confirmation of minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the minutes of the meeting of Friday, 11th April 2026 be confirmed as circulated.
Mr. Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the minutes of the meeting of Friday, 11th April 2026 be confirmed as circulated. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it.
Announcements by Speaker.
No announcement, we can proceed.
Presentation of papers.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to present the Proclamation Proroguing Parliament, SRO number 12 of 2026, Proclamation Reconvening Parliament, SRO number 13 of 2026, Independent Auditor's Report of the Invest Dominica Authority for the financial year ended 30 June 2025, Invest Dominica Authority audited financial statements for the year ended 30 June 2025.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table. Draft estimates of revenue and expenditure for the financial year 2026-2027, Vulnerability, Risk and Resilience Fund Annual Report for the period October 10, 2020 to June 30, 2025, and Vulnerability, Risk and Resilience Fund Audited Financial Statements for the period October 10, 2020 to June 30, 2025.
Government notices.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice that at a later stage of the proceedings, I will be moving the motion and taking all stages of the bill shortly entitled 2026-2027 Appropriation Act 2026, standing in my name on the order paper.
Statement by ministers. Public business, government business motion.
Be it resolved that this Honorable House approves the estimates and expenditure for the financial year ending 30th June 2027, amounting to $1,125,225,495, the details of which are contained in the draft estimates of the Commonwealth of Dominica for the year ending 30th June 2027. Mr. Speaker, thankful to the Almighty God for his continued protection, guidance, and blessings upon our nation. I greet the members of this Honorable House, invited guests, the people of Dominica, and all those listening here and abroad, as I present this year's fiscal year's budget. Mr. Speaker, I am grateful for the hardworking people of the Lord that the Lord has entrusted with the task of building this country. Our farmers, fishers, agro-processors, our public officers, police officers, teachers, nurses, doctors, and sanitation workers, our tradespeople, entrepreneurs, bus and taxi drivers, our entertainers and athletes, our students, and many volunteers have all played an important role in the remarkable progress our nation continues to make. Every budget presents an opportunity to account for our stewardship, while we respond to the needs of our people and continue to advance the work of national development. However, there are moments when changing circumstances demand a broader statement of direction. Such a statement must look beyond the immediate financial year. It must measure the distance we have traveled, identify the risk ahead, and prepare the country to seize opportunities that become only once in a lifetime. We find ourselves at such a moment. The world beyond our shores is being reordered in real time. Geopolitical tensions have disrupted energy markets and shipping routes. A new generation of trade barriers are emerging. Technology is changing the nature of work. Climate events are increasing in frequency and severity. Competition for investment, talent, and market access has intensified. Meanwhile, larger states and international institutions continue to revise the rules governing mobility, finance, and international cooperation. Mr. Speaker, for small island developing states, global events quickly become local realities. We feel the consequence that when fuel prices rise. We feel them when a container ship costs more to move. We feel them when imported food becomes more expensive. We feel them when international uncertainty reaches the shop counter in Bioche, Capuchin, Mont Prosper, Delices, Sineku, Galion, Tranto, Tetmon, or any other community in Dominica. We feel them when the international community changes a rule and expects a small state like Dominica to absorb the consequences without being given the time and space to adjust. Mr. Speaker, these realities make one thing abundantly clear. Standing still is not an option. Countries that fail to prepare will find themselves increasingly vulnerable to forces beyond their control. That is why government has pursued a deliberate strategy of investment and transformation. Today it is important to recognize how far we have already come. Dominica is no longer standing where it stood after Hurricane Maria. We are not standing where we stood when the pandemic closed the world. We have rebuilt homes, roads, schools, health facilities. We have protected incomes. We have expanded social support. We have pursued energy independence. We have opened new possibilities in tourism, agriculture, the blue economy, and digital services. We have advanced projects that earlier generations discussed but could not bring to reach. We have made measurable progress, but these advancements have not rendered us blind to the pressure being carried by households. We recognize the anxiety created by the cost of food, transportation, rent, and reconstruction. A serious government must be able to hold both truths at the same time. We must be proud of what has been achieved without suggesting that every problem has been solved. We must defend our record without becoming defensive. We must acknowledge pressure without surrendering confidence. Mr. Speaker, it is from this national position, our progress, our exposure, our assets, and our responsibilities that the theme of this budget arises: protecting our progress, strengthening our independence, and securing our future. These are not three disconnected phrases. They are one single governing philosophy. They describe the sequence by which a responsible government should act: protect the gains for which our people have already paid and sacrificed, strengthen the country's ability to stand on its own feet, and secure families against risks that may arrive without warning. By protecting our progress, we are safeguarding what the Dominica people have built: our homes, our businesses, our schools, our health system, our roads, our communities, our social protections, our international relations, and our fiscal stability. To strengthen our independence, we are called to produce more of what we consume, generate more of our own energy, increase foreign exchange from several sectors, continue to develop Dominican enterprise, and ensure that no single program, market, or external institution can determine the limits of our future. In securing our future, we must continue to prepare our people for the jobs of tomorrow, protect the vulnerable, manage our resources responsibly, strengthen institutions, and build resilience into every layer of national life. These three principles set the foundation on which this year's budget has been prepared. And so I begin with the macroeconomic performance and outlook for Dominica. Mr. Speaker, the performance of our economy shows that the strategy we have pursued in producing results and giving the country greater room to protect essential services and prepare for future shocks. According to the International Monetary Fund, that's the IMF, July 2026 publication of the World Economic Outlook, global growth in 2025 is estimated at 3.5%, while the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank indicated a 3% growth for the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union during that same period. However, Mr. Speaker, Dominica economic performance in 2025 exceeded both the global and the ECCU averages. Building on the 3.5%, which was achieved in 2024, Dominica achieved growth of 4.5% in 2025. That is 1.5% above the ECCU and global averages. This strong performance was driven by an 18.3% increase in visitor arrivals, alongside expansion in the construction, retail, and trade sectors. Driven by oil price shocks and trade policy uncertainty, global inflation averaged 4.1% in 2025, while inflation within the ECCU stood at 2.5%. The inflation in Dominica was below average at 2.3%, easing from 3.1% in the previous year as prices of imported goods softened. The current account deficit was elevated in 2025 at 38% of GDP, largely because work accelerated on transformative projects, including the international airport, the geothermal plant and transmission infrastructure, the cable car, and the marina, resulting in high investment-related imports. As at 30 June 2026, the debt-to-GDP ratio stood at 99.5%. Mr. Speaker, government's fiscal balance has improved with a primary surplus of 1.8% for fiscal year 2025-2026. That is 0.8% higher than projected. This positive performance was driven mainly by a 7.6% growth in tax revenues. As we forge ahead, the IMF projects that Dominica's economy will expand by a further 3.1% in 2026. That is 0.1% above the 3% forecasted for global and ECCU economies. Inflation is projected to average 3% before easing towards a long-term norm of 2.2% by 2028. Total revenue for fiscal year 2026-2027 is estimated as follows. Tax revenue, 473.53 million. Non-tax revenue, 558.57 million. Capital revenue, 10 million. Grants, 117.55 million, a total of 1.16 billion. Government intends to use continued growth, stronger revenue, and greater public service efficiency to improve the fiscal position, raise disposable income, and reduce business costs. From 2026 to 2027, government commits to an annual primary surplus of at least 2% of GDP until the debt-to-GDP ratio declines to 60%. The current estimates project a surplus of 2.2%. That discipline preserves room for to maintain essential services and respond to future shocks. Mr. Speaker, risk to the economic outlook remains significantly elevated. The persistence of extreme weather events over time continues to threaten projected economic gains, while ongoing conflict in the Middle East, a major oil-producing region, continues to place upward pressure on global energy prices, with consequential impact on food and other commodity prices. On the upside, our goal to transition to 100% renewable electricity generation by 2030 will reduce exposure to volatile oil markets. Digitalization of government service, improved connectivity, and a more diverse tourism product will also strengthen public services and support wider economic activity. Additionally, strengthening technical and vocational education will help close critical skills gaps in construction, manufacturing, and tourism, thereby improving productivity and expanding economic output. In 2026-2027, we will advance this agenda through prudent fiscal management, efficient expenditure, robust revenue collections, and productive investments, the capacity to protect our progress, strengthen our independence, and secure our future. These figures establish the fiscal setting. The budget now turns them into choices about what must be kept running today and what must be built for tomorrow. I therefore present the budget proposal for fiscal year 2026-2027, totaling EC 1.24 billion. Mr. Speaker, I propose a total recurrent expenditure of EC 675.1 million for fiscal year 2026-2027. It covers legally mandated expenditure and those required for the day-to-day operations of the state. For example, payment of public service salaries, utilities and rent, the procurement of supplies and equipment, maintaining our roads and operating our education, health, national security, and justice systems. Mr. Speaker, the proposed recurrent expenditure for each ministry and department is as follows. Office of the President, 1.6 million. Integrity in Public Office, 0.5 million. The Public and Police Service Commission, 0.5 million. The Legislature, 1.3 million. Audit Department, 1.2 million. National Security and Legal Affairs, 67.1 million. Electoral Office, 1.7 million. Office of the Prime Minister, 8.4 million. Ministry of Finance, Economic Development, Climate Resilience and Social Security, 284.8 million. Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy, 9.2 million. Ministry of Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training and National Excellence, 76.9 million. Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, 5.9 million. Ministry of Health, Wellness and Social Services, 75.4 million. Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization, Kalinago Upliftment and Constituency Empowerment, 10.2 million. Ministry of Tourism, 27.1 million. Ministry of Culture, Youth, Sports and Community Development, 15.1 million. Establishment, Personnel and Training Department, 10.1 million. Ministry of Public Works, Public Utilities and the Digital Economy, 52.2 million. Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Business, Trade and Energy, 19.7 million. Cabinet Office, 3.5 million. Ministry of Labor, Public Service Reform, Social Partnership, Entrepreneurship and Small Business Development, 2.7 million. Of the 284.8 million, or 42.2% of the recurrent expenditure, which is allocated to the Ministry of Finance, Economic Development, Climate Resilience and Social Security, 122.2 million is for debt service payments, 47.3 million for gratuities and pensions to retired public officers, 75.2 million for marketing and due diligence services for the Citizenship by Investment Program, and 10.2 million for insurance coverage, including disaster risk insurance. The Ministry of Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training and National Excellence received the second largest allocation, 76.9 million or 11.4% of total recurrent expenditure. It will fund teachers' salaries, school operations, student transformation, uniforms and school feeding programs, services that support learning while easing costs on parents. These are not figures in a vacuum. They represent yet another demonstration of this government's commitment to education as a key driver of national development. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and Social Services will receive the third largest allocation of 75.4 million or 11.2% of total recurrent expenditure. This will ensure a sustained access to health care by funding the procurement of medicines, continued engagement of health workers, and operation of the hospitals and other medical facilities. Additionally, 67.1 million or 9.9% of total recurrent expenditure is allocated to the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs. Public safety, border protection, law enforcement, and administration of justice are not buzzwords for this government. The safety of Dominicans matter. The Ministry of Public Works, Public Utilities, and the Digital Economy has received 52.2 million, or 7.7% of total recurrent expenditure, to fund road and infrastructure maintenance, utilities, and digital services. Mr. Speaker, overall financing the procurement of goods and services is the single largest expenditure item within the recurrent expenditure budget, totaling 225.2 million. This is followed by personal emoluments, which is projected at 184.4 million, and includes the 3% salary increase that the public officers started receiving from last week. Transfers and subsidies are estimated at 137.1 million and cover retirement benefits, the subvention to the Dominic China Friendship Hospital and other statutory bodies, other obligations, grants to various institutions, and public assistance. Interest payments are estimated at 48.6 million, with debt amortization and contribution to the sinking fund projected at 73.6 million. Mr. Speaker, I now turn to the capital investments which our government is making to ensure sustainable growth of our country. Mr. Speaker, the capital estimates comprising government's public sector investment program for fiscal year 2026-2027 propose total capital expenditure of 566.9 million, broken down as follows. Office of the President, 2.3 million. Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs, 2.5 million. Electoral Office, 1.5 million. Office of the Prime Minister, 290 million. Ministry of Finance, Economic Development, Climate Resilience and Social Security, 11.9 million. Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy, 25.4 million. Ministry of Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training and National Excellence, 5.9 million. Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, 19.8 million. Ministry of Health, Wellness and Social Services, 5.1 million. Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization, Kalinago Upliftment and Constituency Empowerment, 57.1 million. Ministry of Tourism, 6.3 million. Ministry of Culture, Youth, Sports and Community Development, 13.6 million. Establishment, Personnel and Training Department, 0.2 million. Ministry of Public Works, Public Utilities and the Digital Economy, 70.7 million. Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Business, Trade and Energy, 51.7 million. Cabinet Office, 0.5 million. Ministry of Labor, Public Service Reform, Social Partnership, Entrepreneurship and Small Business Development, 2.4 million. These investments build the infrastructure and productive assets needed to expand economic capacity and resilience. Through these initiatives, this government aims to strengthen our productive capacity, promote inclusive growth, and enhance the quality of life for all. Mr. Speaker, the total of 290 million, which has been allocated to the Office of the Prime Minister, is for the continued development of the international airport and the marina. Of this amount, 250 million is allocated to the international airport project and 40 million to the marina development project. With an allocation of 70.7 million, the Ministry of Public Works and Digital Economy will advance roads, water and sanitation, and the digital economy, supporting safer access, more reliable public utilities, and easier access to government services. The Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization, Kalinago Upliftment and Constituency Empowerment allocation of 57.1 million is primarily to finance the Kalinago Multipurpose Center and Emergency Shelter, environmental sustainability initiatives, including sustainable waste management and the National Employment Program. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Business, Trade and Energy has the fourth largest allocation in the amount of EC 51.7 million, of which 51.2 million will fund the remaining work on the new network to transmit the geothermal and hydropower to the grid. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy has been allocated 25.4 million to advance food security, economic resilience, and sustainable livelihoods through a comprehensive suite of programs and initiatives. The allocation of 19.8 million to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development includes expenditure related to the Rosa Enhancement Project and government's comprehensive housing program. Mr. Speaker, these 566.9 million in investments are expected to enhance the lives and livelihood of Dominicans across the country. These investments will create short-term and long-term jobs, increase family income, and open new opportunities for businesses. They will strengthen food security, improve roads, water supply, and make daily life more conducive for residents. They will also make Dominica even more attractive to visitors, improve connectivity to the island, increase exports, stimulate economic growth, and continue the transformation of our country. I will now inform the Honorable House and the people of Dominica of the progress we have made, the progress we must protect, and the progress we are building on. Mr. Speaker, before we turn to projects, programs, or sectors, we must begin with the most fundamental issue of all, the contract between a government and the people it serves. A budget is more than a statement of expenditure. It is an expression of priorities, responsibility, and trust. It reveals what a government is prepared to protect, what it is determined to change, and how seriously it takes the everyday concerns of its citizens. Government is entrusted with more than a mandate. It is entrusted with the people's confidence. Dominicans expect government to plan wisely, spend responsibly, protect the vulnerable, and create conditions in which the people's effort can be rewarded and citizens can grow. They expect leadership to be present when it matters. When a family loses a home, when a farmer loses a crop, when a vulnerable person requires care, and when a community faces danger. Mr. Speaker, this government has honored that covenant. The evidence is not in what government says about itself. It is in the record that follows. Homes completed, schools built, health services expanded, income placed in communities, and citizens protected. These achievements we must protect from the first pillar of this budget, that is the social development of our people. Social development, Mr. Speaker. There are responsibilities that fall squarely within the remit of governments, and there are others that government assumes because of a deeper sense of duty and commitment to its people. This administration has never held the view that our mandate ends with the provision of services legally required of us. We know that we must also create conditions that allow families to build security, accumulate wealth, and improve their quality of life. Bearing this in mind, we have gone beyond the traditional role of government to assist families, including middle-income families, in securing land, building homes, and achieving greater economic stability. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to report that government commenced the procurement process for the East Communities and Campbell relocation housing projects, which will add to the more than 3,000 resilient housing units constructed across Dominica. Efforts to expand home ownership also advanced through the allocation of 99 residential lots at substantially reduced prices in Warner, Jimmet, Hillsborough Garden, Cotton Hill, Grand Bay, and Platma-Pier. Mr. Speaker, lots valued at $10 and $12 per square foot were sold to our young people as low as $5 per square foot. These significant discounts have resulted in major savings for our young people who now have the opportunity to build homes of their own. Government also advanced reform to modernize land administration, strengthen survey and planning systems, and ensure that future development is orderly, sustainable, and responsive to the needs of a growing nation. Mr. Speaker, home ownership must be supported not only by access to land, but also by affordable financing. Government is therefore proceeding with the Opportunity Knocks 2% housing program announced in the previous cycle for public officers and members of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. Some applications have already been approved and others are under consideration. The benefit of concessionary financing is straightforward. It lowers borrowing costs, reduces the monthly installment payment, and permits the borrower more disposable income during the life of the loan, or alternatively, allows the borrower to increase the size of his mortgage or home. For a working family, that can make home ownership more affordable, turning a recurring rental expense into an investment in a lasting family asset. Mr. Speaker, the true value of owning a house is not found in the cost of concrete and steel. It is found in the improvement of the life of a family. It is the mother who no longer fears when the hurricane season begins. It is the elderly person who has moved from insecurity into dignity. It is the child who can study in a safer environment. It is the family that can redirect income originally used to pay rent toward food, education, and advancement. Every completed home represents a family and community made safer and wealthier. A secure home protects a family, but the future of that household also depends on whether its children can gain the knowledge and skill to earn, compete, and achieve. So the next protection we strengthen is education. Mr. Speaker, Nelson Mandela reminded us that no country can really develop unless its citizens are educated. This government shares that conviction. Education is not merely a social service. It is the foundation of opportunity, productivity, and national progress. A country that educates its people equips them to create, innovate, and compete, thereby shaping their own future. Government is investing heavily in educational infrastructure across the country. The government of the People's Republic of China funded Goodwill Secondary School, Kalibishi Primary School, Tibo Primary School at 90% complete, while the Tetmon, Bellevue Chopin, and Sinoku are 85% complete. These projects have created work for more than 140 Dominicans, but the lasting value will be measured by the children who learn in modern classrooms, the teachers better equipped to teach, and the young people who discover that intelligence is expressed not only through examinations, but through technical skills, creativity, problem solving, and enterprise. Mr. Speaker, we have held firm to the view that education is the greatest equalizer in any society. A child's opportunity to learn, to develop their talents, and to build a better future should never depend on the financial circumstances of their parents. So this government has made it a priority, not only to invest in schools and teachers, but also to remove the financial barriers that prevent children from accessing education. Accordingly, during the last fiscal year, government invested more than 22.8 million in programs that directly supported students, families, and educational institutions. These investments provided transportation for primary and secondary school students, subventions for the Dominica State College, salary grants to non-government primary and secondary schools, salary support to early childhood centers, the school feeding program, the textbook program, school transfer grants, and the uniform assistant program. Mr. Speaker, these allocations represent a conscious decision that no Dominican child should, one, miss school because transportation is unaffordable, go without a nutritious meal during the school day, and thirdly, lack a textbook or uniform, or be denied an education because the family cannot meet the associated cost. Again, Mr. Speaker, the monies invested in education are not disconnected statistics. They describe the social character of this government. They reveal who we placed at the center of our decision making. They show that national progress has a human face. Government continues to invest heavily in tertiary education through free tuition at the Dominica State College, ongoing scholarship programs with our long-standing partners in the People's Republic of China, Cuba, and Morocco, and a range of financial assistance initiatives that expand access to higher education. 343 students graduated from the Dominica State College just this past month. They represent 343 stories of possibility and 343 reminders that when government invests in education, it is investing in the future of our country. In the upcoming academic year, 10 Dominican students will receive newly secured scholarships to the University of Guyana, while 5 additional scholarships have been secured for study in Romania, in priority fields aligned with our national development agenda, including aviation and other disciplines that support the country's strategic transformation. Government is also finalizing additional financing of 19 million from the Caribbean Development Bank through the Aid Bank to expand student loan assistance, enabling more Dominican students to pursue tertiary education and professional training. Special focus will be given to students pursuing studies in accordance with a revised national priority list and skills training. Mr. Speaker, we are also transforming what our children learn to prepare them to drive the new look Dominica, which is developing before us. Curriculum reform will focus on developing the analytical, critical thinking, innovative, and entrepreneurship skills of our children and young people. It will strengthen science, technology, technical and vocational education, entrepreneurship, digital literacy, creativity, civic responsibility, and problem solving. This is how education moves from social protection to economic independence. By preparing young Dominicans to fill the jobs being created in construction, aviation, tourism, energy, agriculture, manufacturing, and digital services. Education gives a household the capacity to advance. Health protects that capacity from being lost to illness, distance, or unaffordable care. I therefore turn to the health and social systems that stand between a medical emergency and a family crisis. Mr. Speaker, protecting our progress means protecting the health of our people. It means ensuring that the investment we have made over the years deliver better healthcare, stronger institutions, and improve outcomes for every Dominican. Building on the construction of the Dominica-China Friendship Hospital, the Marigot Hospital, and the 13 health and wellness centers, we're improving healthcare services across the island. Smart upgrades were completed at the Maho, Cassibrus, and Wesley Health Centers, making these facilities more resilient. Rehabilitation works were also completed at the San Sauvé, Mao River, Bells Health Center, while the new Savanpai Health and Wellness Center is now operational, restoring primary healthcare services to that community. Mr. Speaker, our primary healthcare system has long been recognized as one of the strongest in the region. By modernizing facilities and expanding services, we are protecting that achievement and bringing quality care closer to the people. Care delivered closer to home can mean one less costly trip to Roseau, less time away from work, faster attention and earlier treatment before a manageable condition becomes a household emergency. At the Dominica-China Friendship Hospital, a new accident and emergency operating theater was commissioned, significantly expanding emergency surgical capacity, reducing response times, and improving patient outcome for critically ill and injured patients. Government is implementing a new human resource management structure across the healthcare system to strengthen leadership, improve service delivery, and enhance patient care. As part of this reform, positions are being filled in the new nursing management structure, while additional medical specialists are being appointed to improve the quality of services and expand access to specialized care. Mr. Speaker, protecting our progress also requires strong institutions and modern regulatory frameworks. The Medical Profession Act, the Nurses and Midwife Act, and legislation establishing the Medical Laboratories Council have been enacted. These measures will strengthen professional standards, improve regulation and accountability, support the recruitment and retention of qualified healthcare professionals, and ensure that the healthcare system meets the high standards of safety and quality. Our healthcare system continues to reach important milestones. The successful completion of Dominica's first brain surgery is a clear demonstration of the growing capacity of our health services. Today, major procedures that once required patients to travel overseas are increasingly being performed here at home, supported by a growing team of specialist consultants and improved diagnostic and surgical capabilities. Mr. Speaker, government is committed to ensuring that patients receive high-quality clinical care and the support they need throughout their healthcare journey. To further strengthen patient care, we're establishing a patient support unit staffed by dedicated patient navigators who will help patients access services, coordinate appointments, and receive guidance from diagnosis through treatment. Mr. Speaker, protecting growth also means protecting dignity. From its very beginning, one of the defining principles of this Dominican Labour Party government has been that development must improve the lives of every citizen, especially those who are least able to help themselves. Caring for the elderly persons living with disabilities, vulnerable families, and those facing hardship has never been an afterthought. It has been and continues to be a fundamental pillar of this government's philosophy and a defining feature of our approach to national development. Even as global economic uncertainty, inflation, and other external pressures place demands on public finances, this government has remained steadfast in protecting the social programs that thousands of Dominicans depend on. We have made a deliberate decision that regardless of the challenges we face, we will continue to invest in people because no society can truly progress if its most vulnerable citizens are left behind. Throughout the past year, government continued to provide for our elderly citizens, persons living with disabilities, and vulnerable families through the Public Assistance Program, the Yes We Care program, social welfare services, the non-contributory pension for persons over the age of 65, and a range of community-based support initiatives that help improve the quality of life for many households across the country. Mr. Speaker, we also recognize that people living with disabilities must be active participants in national development. In 2022, in response to the advocacy of the Dominica Association of Persons with Disabilities, DAPD, government established the National Commission on Persons with Disability. Building on that important step, government will now establish a dedicated National Disability Affairs Unit, headed by a coordinator to give greater focus and prominence to issues affecting persons with disabilities. This unit will support the Commission in fulfilling its mandate, strengthen advocacy, improve coordination across ministries and agencies, and ensure that the rights, needs, and interests of persons with disabilities receive sustained attention at the national level. Mr. Speaker, these programs reflect a simple but enduring principle. Development must never leave people behind. Public assistance, pensions, disability support protect our most vulnerable citizens, preserve dignity, and provide support when it is needed most. That is protection in its most human form, ensuring that age, disability, or misfortune does not erase a person's place in the national community. Mr. Speaker, sports, community life, and opportunity. This government is also investing in the facilities, programs, and environments that allow our young people to develop their talents and realize their full potential. Government has made significant investments in sports infrastructure across Dominica. I am excited to report that we now have an upgraded, modernized lighting system at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, which allows us to resume night sporting events, expand community access, and improve training opportunities for athletes. Work is set to begin this year on the synthetic track and field facility at Point Round. Another transformative investment that will strengthen athletics development and provide world-class facilities for our aspiring athletes. Community sporting facilities continue to be enhanced throughout the island, including the lighting of several sports facilities and the completion of the Trafalgar basketball court. For our young people, a public sporting facility provides access, supports health and discipline, and can open a pathway from community participation to national representation and employment in sports. Investing in playgrounds and community spaces. Mr. Speaker, strong communities are built not only through houses and roads, but through the shared spaces that bring people together. Safe, attractive, and well-maintained recreational areas give children room to play, families space to gather, and neighbors opportunity to strengthen the bonds that keep communities healthy, secure, and vibrant. Government will therefore continue its program to develop and upgrade playgrounds and green spaces in rural communities across Dominica. This initiative recognizes that every child, regardless of where he or she lives, should have access to safe and well-maintained recreational spaces that encourage healthy growth, physical activity, and social interactions with extended family and community. The program will provide modern playground equipment, green landscape areas, seating, walking paths where appropriate, lighting, and other amenities that create welcoming spaces for children, families, and senior citizens. Communities will also be encouraged to incorporate native trees and plants, reinforcing our commitment to environmental stewardship while enhancing the beauty of our villages. Government will work closely with village councils, community organizations, youth groups, and the private sector to identify suitable locations and keep these facilities maintained. Facilities create the space for development. People provide the knowledge that turns potential into capability. We will therefore connect community infrastructure and the experience already present among our own citizens. Community Mentorship Program. Mr. Speaker, the wealth of a nation is measured not only by what lies beneath its soil or within its treasury, but also by the knowledge, skills, and experience carried by its people. Across Dominica is a deep reservoir of expertise. Retired professionals, successful entrepreneurs, skilled artisans, farmers, tradespeople, educators, accountants, information technology specialists. That accumulated wisdom must not be allowed to retire from national development. It can mentor young people, strengthen emerging businesses, transfer practical skills, and help the next generation advance with greater confidence. Therefore, this year, in addition to our youth skills training program, government will establish a community-based mentorship program to facilitate practical training and hands-on support. The program will connect experienced professionals and skilled community members with young people, aspiring entrepreneurs, and others seeking to acquire new skills, improve existing ones, or transform ideas into successful businesses. Participants will benefit from practical instructions and mentoring in areas such as entrepreneurship, financial management, digital technology, agriculture, the trades, customer service, leadership, and other disciplines aligned with community needs and national priorities. Mr. Speaker, our aim is to create a cadre of new entrepreneurs ready to embrace the opportunities which will be available in the new look Dominica. As these new opportunities become available across the country, it is important to highlight that proper infrastructure and connectivity is required. That brings me to infrastructure and connectivity. Mr. Speaker, one of the defining achievements of this government is the transformation of the road network across the country. Communities that were difficult to reach are now better connected through modern roads and bridges, making it easier for people to get to work, take their produce to market, access healthcare, and send their children to school. That is what development looks like in practical terms, and this government has delivered in every part of the country. Mr. Speaker, that work continues. Most recently, the East Coast Road Improvement connectivity from Boadiab to Hatton Garden to the Kalinago territory and along the Eastern Corridor. The Loubier to Grand Bay Road is well advanced with the construction of 5 new bridges, drainage improvements, and road widening reconstruction. Government is also preparing the phase 2 of the Rosa Enhancement Project, which is the rehabilitation of 7 streets. We are moving forward with stakeholder consultations and procurement activities. A contract for the commencement of works will be awarded by December 26 to allow works to begin by February 2027. Our major road rehabilitation works planned to commence within the next 2 years include York Valley to Salton Junction, the Poncassi to Boadiab Road, North Road from Portsmouth to Hatton Garden, and the resurfacing of the road from Roseau to Canefield. Mr. Speaker, every road we have built, every school and hospital we have upgraded, and every resilient home we have constructed helps to reduce the vulnerability, increase opportunities, and expand the choices available to Dominican families. That record required sound policy choices, and the courage to invest for the long term while steering the country to recovery from extraordinary shocks. To explain honestly how our progress was protected, we must identify one of the principal instruments that help finance it, that is the Citizenship by Investment Program. Mr. Speaker, any honest account of Dominica's progress must acknowledge the contributions of the Citizenship by Investment Program. Also, the prudent and visible use of those funds. The CBI has not been an abstract entry in the national accounts. It's financed resilient housing, healthcare, education, agriculture, small business development, roads, climate resilient infrastructure, and projects that are creating the platform for future sustained growth. For the household, its contribution is therefore visible in assets and services that families use, in the jobs they have secured and the economic benefits their families have received, in a better quality of life, in reconstruction that did not have to be financed through heavier taxation, and in national capacity that would otherwise have taken far longer to build. CBI has also supported the productive economy. Since this government reconstructed the program in 2014, thousands of business owners, farmers, fishers received direct and indirect benefits. Investment through the approved real estate route helped finance hotels and eco-lodges, expanding Dominica's tourism plant and creating construction and hospitality opportunities. Mr. Speaker, it helped Dominica respond when disasters could have reversed a generation of progress. Hurricane Maria inflicted damages and loss estimated at 226% of our GDP. In the weeks and months that followed, accumulated CBI resources were mobilized to bridge urgent financing gaps, while grants and other external support were being assembled. Those resources helped government restore essential services and rebuild public infrastructure. Thousands of Dominicans in every community received CBI grants to restore their homes, and others received new houses from government. The International Monetary Fund has confirmed that the sharp increase in resilient public investment after Maria was financed mainly from the CBI revenue. The World Bank has similarly reported that accumulated CBI reserves were drawn down to finance reconstruction and recovery activities. This did not replace the valuable support of international partners. It gave Dominica the capacity to act immediately and to direct resources to national priorities. The program gave a small country room to act when the scale of our need exceeded the space available for ordinary revenue and borrowing. It allowed Dominica to move with urgency when delay would have imposed a greater human and economic cost. Mr. Speaker, there would be no apology for homes built for Dominican families, for health facilities, for schools, for roads, resilient communities, or for building hotels and advancing our development, or for lawfully mobilizing resources to protect our people. But confidence in the program and its benefits must never become complacency. The value of Dominican citizenship must be guarded with seriousness. Due diligence must remain rigorous. Administration must continue to be sound. Oversight must continue to be strong. Information sharing and international cooperation must continue. The integrity of the program is not separate from its economic value. Integrity is the foundation of its economic value. Mr. Speaker, international rules affecting investor citizenship programs and visa-free mobility are changing. Our response must be clear. We will continue to engage constructively with all our partners. We will listen to their concerns, adjust our systems where required, and continue to uphold high standards. The European Union has revised its visa suspension framework, putting further pressure on investor citizenship programs. We do not dismiss that development or answer with hostility. We will answer through constructive dialogue. Dominica will approach these discussions as a responsible partner, prepared to cooperate, uphold high standards, and protect the legitimate development interests of the Dominican people. That is the position from which we move forward, confident in the contribution of CBI, firm in protecting its integrity, and equally determined that no single program will carry the full weight of our future. The assets CBI helped to build must now produce jobs, exports, energy savings, and new income. That is the bridge from protecting our progress to strengthening our independence. Mr. Speaker, strengthening our independence does not mean turning away from CBI, international partners of foreign investment. It means ensuring that Dominica has options. It means that if one revenue source weakens, several productive sectors can continue to support jobs, public service, and household income. From the outset, government's purpose was clear: to convert CBI revenues into lasting national assets and productive capacity. Those resources help build the infrastructure, resilience, and social foundation on which the next stage of development can stand. The CBI which helped us build those investments must now help us earn. This means turning infrastructure into enterprise, enterprise into employment, and employment into stronger household incomes, while attracting visitors and more investments, increasing exports, and generating new sources of national income that circulate through communities across Dominica. That is why your government has consistently pursued economic diversification. Mr. Speaker, long before recent international developments, we deliberately broadened the country's productive base so that Dominica would be better positioned to withstand external shocks and create more long-term opportunities for its people. Let me assure our people that this strategy will continue. We will build on the progress already made, strengthen productive sectors, and widen the number of ways in which a Dominican can earn a living at home. Mr. Speaker, agriculture. Mr. Speaker, this government has invested heavily in transforming agriculture into a modern, competitive, and commercially driven sector. From July of 2017 to June of 2026, government invested $252.5 million in agriculture, livestock, fisheries, agricultural infrastructure, and food security. Over the last 12 months, approximately 830 acres of priority crops were established, with projected production of 17.9 million pounds of marketable produce valued at more than $44.7 million. Those figures represent potential farm income, more local food in shops and markets, and a larger domestic buffer when shipping or overseas supply is disrupted. Mr. Speaker, government strategy for transforming agriculture is equally focused on adding value to what we produce, expanding market access, and creating greater economic returns for our farmers and agro-producers. Over the past years, through Dexia, government purchased more than 938,000 pounds of agricultural produce, injecting almost 1.5 million directly into the hands of Dominican farmers. Government also invested more than $4 million to strengthen over 150 agro-processors, while providing $1 million to support the commercialization of locally manufactured products. The next logical step is to create the infrastructure that will enable agricultural products to be processed, branded, and marketed on a commercial scale. To that end, the government has completed the feasibility study, architectural designs, and cost estimates for the establishment of a multi-purpose agro-processing facility. The facility will serve as the national hub for agro-processing, value addition, and commercialization. It will provide commercial-scale processing infrastructure for root crops and tropical fruits, while housing dedicated incubation space for entrepreneurs producing honey, sauces, jams, and jellies, herbs, spices, and other value-added agricultural produce. This investment will reduce post-harvest losses by creating reliable markets for fresh produce and enabling surpluses to become high-value, shelf-stable products. For the farmer, that means less income rotting after harvest. For the consumer, it means a longer local selling season. And for Dominican alternatives, that imported products become scarce or expensive. For the entrepreneurship, it creates room to turn a crop into a branded product with a higher return. This year, more than 520 farmers and agro-processors will begin to receive support under the Dominica Community Resilience Enhancement Project, DOMCREP, to adopt climate-smart agriculture practices, including improved irrigation, greenhouse technology, and agroforestry. This investment will increase agricultural productivity and improve livelihoods in these communities. Mr. Speaker, government has also invested in the rehabilitation of farm access roads to increase production. Since the feeder road rehabilitation program resumed in 2021, 11 feeder roads have been completed at a cost of approximately $26 million. Significantly improving access to agricultural lands, reducing transportation costs, and enabling farmers to move inputs and produce more efficiently. During the past year, progress continued on feeder roads at Captain Bruce, Naiba, Atley, Makato, Kahum, Bells, while a contract was awarded for the rehabilitation of the Grange Road in Portsmouth. Further works will proceed this fiscal year on the Odillis, Newfoundland Feeder Road, and the Modest Feeder Road in Castle Bruce. Mr. Speaker, government has completed the new abattoir for poultry and pork, while the national feed mill will soon be completed. These are intended to lower production constraints and support expanded domestic meat production. When local producers can access feed and processing more efficiently, the benefit is greater stability in supply, more income kept in farming communities, and less exposure to external disruption affecting imported food. We are also investing heavily in the development of the apiculture industry. We have provided 600 beehives, equipment, and protective gear to beekeepers across the island. These have resulted in the doubling of the national hive stock and strengthening of honey production and processing capacity. Building on this success, an additional $1.5 million will be allocated to expand the industry through establishment of hundreds of new hives and the development of a nationally recognized Dominica honey brand. The government commends the Beekeepers Association for their partnership and advocacy. Mr. Speaker, in the fishing subsector, government delivered 54 fishing vessels and invested a further $2.46 million in fisheries infrastructure. Fish landing reached about 1,225 tons and generated an estimated $20.25 million in economic activity. The fish purchasing facility at the Rosa Fisheries Complex, managed by Dexia, provides guaranteed markets and prompt payment to fishers. That gives fishing households greater certainty that a catch will become income, while helping secure a reliable local source of protein for Dominican consumers. All of these timely investments will expand livestock, apiculture, and fisheries to reduce food imports and create commercial opportunity. Mr. Speaker, to protect these major investments, this year government will take an additional step by procuring crop insurance valued at 1.5 million. Mr. Speaker, this insurance facility will provide liquidity for government to assist farmers in the event of a climatic disaster. This will help protect farmers and their families from climate risk. This insurance facility will be fully financed by the government at no cost to the farmer. Mr. Speaker, I now turn to another critical driver of economic growth and national development: connectivity, tourism, and new markets. The international airport stands at the center of our national development strategy. As the single largest infrastructure investment in our nation's history, it will fundamentally transform Dominica's connectivity to the rest of the world, expand direct airlift to and from key markets, attract new investments, and support our long-term goal of significantly increasing stayover visitor arrivals and exports. Its impact will extend well beyond tourism, creating new opportunities for agriculture, fisheries, transportation, construction, hospitality, and the creative industries, while strengthening the country's overall competitiveness. Mr. Speaker, the project continues to make substantial progress, particularly on the tunnel and passage terminal. Earthworks and culvert construction now stands at approximately 78% complete. Runway and taxiway construction have passed 60%. Work is simultaneously advancing on the cargo facility, the air traffic control tower, the fuel farm, and the aircraft rescue and firefighting services building. Noteworthy, Mr. Speaker, more than 400 Dominicans are employed directly on the International Airport project. Dominicans are learning heavy civil trades, surveying, plant operation, concrete and steel work, skills that will outlive this project and follow those workers into their constructive life sites in this country. Mr. Speaker, that's what it means to build a nation's future without leaving its people behind. With the project on schedule for completion in the second quarter of 2028, preparations have begun for the airport's operational phase, including work on the regulatory framework, staffing, operational systems, and commercial arrangements needed to ensure the airport can commence safe and efficient operations from the inaugural flight. Mr. Speaker, the Cabritz Marina. In another example of our diversification strategy in action, it is creating another tourism product, positioning Portsmouth as a premier yachting destination, expand opportunities within the blue economy, and stimulate sustainable economic growth in the north of the island. Since construction began in October of 2024, substantial progress has been made on dredging operations, breakwater construction, upland development, and other critical infrastructure, with the marina entrance channel now partially opened and major protective works advancing steadily. A critical component of the project is a boatyard to house and repair yachts. This will attract even more marine activity. Mr. Speaker, once operational, the marina along with the boatyard will create at least 300 permanent jobs. Upon completion, the Cabritz Marina will create new opportunities for tourism, maritime services, private investments and employment, while strengthening Dominica's position as a leading yachting destination in the Caribbean and further broadening the country's economic base. Mr. Speaker, the cable car is another transformative project. This will do more than transport visitors to the Boyne Lake in just 20 minutes. It will give Dominica an entirely new tourism product, one no other Caribbean destination can offer. At 6.6 kilometers, it will be the longest cable car of its kind in the world, carrying up to 1,000 visitors an hour to witness our greatest natural wonders. This investment, Mr. Speaker, will create a network of economic opportunities for tour guides, farmers, transport providers, restaurants, artisans, accommodation providers, and other local businesses, and will have tremendous spillover impact for the economy. The Woodbridge Bay Cruise Village. Mr. Speaker, this year, Dominica welcomed 375,646 cruise passengers for approximately 189 ship calls, our strongest cruise season since 2011. That demonstrates the growing appeal of Destination Dominica. The challenge is not simply attracting more ships, but ensuring that more of what cruise passengers spend remain in the hands of Dominicans. To achieve this, government is advancing plans for the expansion of the Roseau Cruise Pier and development of the cruise village through public-private partnership. Negotiations are progressing well, and it is expected that an agreement will be finalized by October this year. This project will be funded exclusively by foreign direct investment, a significant investment in our country. As we move forward with this development, we will hold consultations with key stakeholders to gather their input on this important project. The cruise village will create a modern waterfront experience that provides greater opportunities for vendors, farmers, fishers, artisans, musicians, tour operators, and other Dominican businesses to benefit directly from our growing cruise industry. It is an investment designed to ensure that every cruise passenger who comes ashore leaves a greater share of their spendings in Dominican hands, creating jobs, supporting livelihoods, and strengthening the national economy. It is our hope, Mr. Speaker, that with the completion of the international airport, the marina, and the new cruise village, Dominica will become a major cruise ship home port. Government has already begun these discussions with cruise lines, and the future looks bright for this tourism industry. Mr. Speaker, energy independence. Yes. Mr. Speaker, Dominica, a small island developing state, has become the first CARICOM country to generate electricity from its own geothermal resources. Making a historic milestone in our transition to clean, renewable energy. This achievement places Dominica among a select group of countries, becoming only the second small island state in the world to develop a geothermal power plant. In June of 2026, 68% of the electricity supplied by Domlec came from renewable energy. 25% was hydro, while geothermal accounted for 43%. Mr. Speaker, that is clean energy being supplied to our homes, a reduction in the volume of imported fuel, and lower electricity costs for every Dominican homeowner and business. Mr. Speaker, this government has long held to a simple but powerful principle. Power from Dominican soil must power Dominican progress. After years of sweat, challenges, and struggles, we have achieved. Government has also modernized the transmission network through new substations at Padu, Trafalgar, and Foucault, and approximately 19 kilometers of underground and overhead high-voltage lines linking the geothermal plant, the Roseau Valley hydroelectric stations, and the Domlex distribution network. The geothermal plant has now successfully passed reliability testing and is approaching commercial operation. This is an important shift, Mr. Speaker, from testing to sustained operation. During the first 3 months of commercial operation, the Independent Regulatory Commission will monitor geothermal performance and its effect on consumer electricity costs, replacing projections with evidence from the plant's actual operation. This milestone also shows that the product is moving beyond its early commissioning difficulties. As steady geothermal generation is integrated with the strengthened transmission system, it should reduce the pressure on diesel generation and help limit generation-related outages. It will not eliminate every interruption, as disruption, faults, maintenance, and extreme weather will still matter, but it should make the electricity system more stable and more resilient. Mr. Speaker, Dominica must fully exploit its geothermal potential. There are endless opportunities to be had from this resource, including export of energy and conversion to other products. With this in mind, government is actively investigating other sources of geothermal energy in the country, including the north, while preparing to expand the seal from the reservoirs in the Roseau Valley. Geothermal will not remove every component of an electricity bill overnight, but it will reduce exposure to volatility of imported fuel prices. The IMF projects lower fuel imports and a stronger external position as the system expands. For households, this creates greater scope for stable bills and more reliable service. For businesses, it reduces the risk of interruptions and sudden energy cost increases. Our investment in geothermal energy is therefore a strategic investment in energy security, economic resilience, and Dominica's ability to exercise greater control over its own development. Mr. Speaker, small business development. Reliable and more affordable energy lowers the cost of doing business. Modern infrastructure connects producers to customers, while sound policy gives entrepreneurs the confidence to invest. But these national gains matter most when they create opportunities for people. This is where infrastructure becomes enterprise, policy becomes payroll, and national independence becomes household income. That is why government continues to prioritize micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. These businesses are not on the margins of the economy. They are where many Dominicans earn their first wage, develop an idea, build a livelihood, and create opportunities for others. Supporting them is therefore central to expanding employment, encouraging entrepreneurship, and building a stronger, more broadly based private sector. Mr. Speaker, for these reasons, government will make an additional $19 million available to the Aid Bank for on-lending to micro and small medium-sized enterprises. That is from December 2026. These loans will be offered on the same terms as the recently completed $27.8 million loan facility. That is, Mr. Speaker, 3.5% interest on a reducing balance, up to 10 years to repay, and a 6-month grace period on principal and interest. These terms are designed to protect cash flow when a business is most vulnerable, that is, during startup or expansion. Mr. Speaker, this last $27.8 million MSME loan facility benefited 554 businesses, reflecting the strong demand for affordable financing. By 31st March 2026, all available funds had been assigned to support businesses across the country. That was in agriculture, tourism, transportation, manufacturing, and services sector. Mr. Speaker, the success of the MSME loan facility demonstrates that Dominican entrepreneurs are prepared to invest when finance is within their reach. Mr. Speaker, we move now to the orange economy. Mr. Speaker, supporting small businesses also means recognizing that economic opportunities lie in the creative industries. As a means of further harnessing the creative talent of our people, the government has decided to establish Dominica's Creative Economy Development Agency. Over the coming months, government will work with artists, musicians, filmmakers, designers, cultural practitioners, event organizers, and other stakeholders to shape the framework for DCEDA, that's the Dominican Creative Economy Development Agency, so that it reflects the needs and aspirations of the sector. The agency will support product development, remove barriers to growth, and create clearer pathways for artists to participate fully in the formal economy. Mr. Speaker, our Buyo artists have been making waves across the world. What was once a uniquely Dominican sound is now being played on international stages, streamed across digital platforms, and embraced by audiences throughout the Caribbean, Europe, North America, and beyond. Along with our belly dancers, our Creole and Calypso singers, our Calypsonians, our photographers, fashion designers, and digital creators, they are entrepreneurs, exporters, and ambassadors for Dominica. Every time a Dominican artist earns income abroad, attracts visitors through our culture, or showcase our talent to the world, they contribute to economic growth, create employment, and generate valuable foreign exchange for our country. Mr. Speaker, DCEDA will also place special emphasis on preserving, promoting, and commercializing the rich cultural heritage of the Kalinago people. The traditions, craftsmanship, music, dance, storytelling, cuisine, and indigenous knowledge of the Kalinago are among Dominica's most distinctive cultural assets and hold tremendous potential for cultural tourism and creative enterprise. Government will continue to work with the Kalinago community to support artisans, cultural practitioners, and entrepreneurs through product development, training, marketing, and expand market access, ensuring that this unique heritage is preserved while creating new economic opportunities for the people of the Kalinago territory. As part of this initiative, government will also support the establishment of a national recording studio, giving Dominican musicians, producers, and content creators access to professional recording facilities here at home. This means, Mr. Speaker, that a young Dominican can record, produce, and release their work to international standard at a fraction of what it would cost them to fly abroad and pay foreign studios. It means training and certification pathways for our sound engineers and producers. And it means Dominican artists will retain more of the value of what they create, because the tools of a global music industry will be available to them right here at home. Mr. Speaker, government also recognizes that the growth of the orange economy depends not only on creating and promoting talent, but also on protecting it. We will therefore strengthen our intellectual property framework to ensure that artists are able to protect their work and receive the financial rewards they deserve. Too often, creative works are copied, used, or commercialized without those who created them sharing fairly in the benefits. This government will take the necessary steps to ensure that artists are protected, properly valued, and transformed into a lasting source of income, enterprise, and national wealth. Mr. Speaker, when we speak of Dominican talent, we must also acknowledge a growing and passionate youth community, our bikers. Government intends to work with riders, organizers, and other stakeholders to grow Dominica's Bike Festival into a signature national event. Supporting initiatives that promote training, safety, entrepreneurship, and sports tourism. Government will also explore opportunities to support motorsport activities, more broadly as another avenue for youth engagement, enterprise, and visitor attraction. Mr. Speaker, funding for these programs will be provided by the Dominica National Lotteries Commission, in keeping with its mandate to support youth development. These proposed initiatives represent an investment in our young people, our culture, and a growing sector with the potential to create jobs, generate exports, and diversify the Dominican economy. Mr. Speaker, introducing international online gaming. Government is pursuing a deliberate strategy to further broaden the economic base and create new sources of sustainable growth. As part of this strategy, we'll continue to explore opportunities that can attract increased international investment, foreign exchange earnings, and economic activity for Dominica. In this regard, government intends to proceed with the development of an online gaming industry. To facilitate this, we'll revise and strengthen the legislative framework to establish a comprehensive regulatory regime governing internet gaming in Dominica. It will establish licensing requirements in accordance with industry standards, including tests for operators and senior management, ongoing regulatory oversight, regular audits and reporting requirements, and strong enforcement powers. It will also place significant emphasis on responsible gaming through mandatory age verification, player protection measures, self-exclusion programs, data security standards and safeguards against fraud, money laundering, and other financial crimes. Government will establish a dedicated gaming authority to regulate the industry and engage stakeholders and international partners during its development. Ensuring a cleaner Dominica. Mr. Speaker, as our economy expands, the demand for reliable waste collection and disposal services will continue to grow. Meeting that demand requires sustained investment in specialized vehicles, fuel, landfill operations, environmental protection systems, equipment, maintenance, and the dedicated personnel who work every day to keep Dominica clean. Mr. Speaker, government currently spends approximately $14 million each year to provide residential waste collection across the country. That expenditure keeps an essential service available to households. Mr. Speaker, starting this year, government will begin to outsource the collection of solid waste to the private sector. While the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation will continue to oversee and manage the processing and disposal of waste. This is intended to create new business opportunities for Dominicans and improve the efficiency of the garbage collection system. I therefore encourage interested individuals and companies to begin preparing to take advantage of this opportunity. Government stands ready to support this transition through import duty and excise tax concessions on garbage trucks and other specialized equipment required to provide these services. Mr. Speaker, a modern and reliable waste management system requires sustainable financing. That issue was carefully examined during the national budget consultations and the public consultations conducted by the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation, where there was broad consensus that maintaining a modern and reliable waste management system requires a shared national commitment. Accordingly, the government has decided that each household and business will be required to pay a monthly fee effective January 1, 2027, the amount of which will be communicated to the public at a later date. Mr. Speaker, providing an efficient waste management system must be matched by a strong culture of environmental responsibility. Government will therefore undertake a comprehensive review of the existing legislation governing waste management and littering, with a view to strengthening enforcement measures and introducing tougher penalties for indiscriminate littering and other environmental offenses. Those who undermine the cleanliness of our communities and the beauty of our country must be held accountable. Digital government, bringing services closer to the people. Mr. Speaker, communities today expect public services that are efficient, accessible, and responsive. A service to the public that requires a person to make several trips, lose a day of work, or not receive a timely response is not in line with our current development trajectory. Cognizant of the situation, government continues to modernize the delivery of public services through digital transformation. Increasingly, citizens are able to access government services online. Building on that progress, beginning 1st October 2026, vehicle owners will be able to renew vehicle and driver's licenses online. Government will also replace the mandatory annual on-site pre-licensed vehicle inspection with road inspections. This removes the routine annual journey to the traffic division and waiting time while preserving the legal responsibility to keep vehicles roadworthy. This will reduce the administrative burden on compliant owners and drivers and allow targeted enforcement where unsafe vehicles are actually found. Mr. Speaker, rebuilding our population and reconnecting the global Dominican family. Dominica's development depends on people. Our schools, health services, businesses, housing and communities all require a sufficient resident population and access to the skills needed to support national growth. The Dominican family extends far beyond our shores. It includes citizens who migrated, their children and grandchildren, and others who retain a connection to Dominica through family and culture. They have acquired valuable skills, professional experience, business network, and capital. As our economy is transformed by the international airport, geothermal energy, the marina, expanded tourism, modern infrastructure, and new investment opportunities, we want them to know that this is an ideal time to return home. Our vision also extends to investors, retirees, CBI citizens, remote workers, entrepreneurs, skilled professionals, many of whom are looking for safe, stable, and welcoming places to live, invest, and spend more of their time. Mr. Speaker, this government goal is to increase Dominica's resident population to 100,000 by 2040. Government will therefore establish a national population renewal and global Dominican engagement program to address three related needs: rebuild the resident population, reduce the skills gap, and create practical ways for the wider Dominican family to return, invest, serve, and settle here. This year, government will begin to implement the following. Number one, citizenship through a Dominican grandparent. The necessary legislation will be taken to Parliament to allow a person with at least one grandparent born in Dominica to apply to become a citizen, subject to proof of ancestry, identity, good character, beginning January 1st, 2027. Many descendants are now 2 or 3 generations removed from the island, but still retain a strong family connection. Citizenship can encourage them to participate more fully in national life, visit more often, restore family property, establish businesses, and invest here. It can also widen the pool of people eligible to represent Dominica in sports and other fields. Number 2, Global Dominican Talent Register. A global Dominican talent register will identify athletes, medical professionals, scientists, teachers, engineers, entrepreneurs, artists, and other skilled people of Dominican ancestry. Registrants will be able to state their expertise, availability, and the way in which they are willing to contribute. This will allow government and national institutions to match people with specific opportunities to represent Dominica, mentor young people, provide short-term specialists, assistance, invest, support disaster recovery, or build international partnerships. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, free 2-year Live in Dominica resident visa. Eligible remote workers, retirees, financially independent individuals, and families will be able to obtain a free 2-year Live in Dominica residence visa while earning their income abroad. These residents can bring immediate spending into rental housing, property improvement, food, transportation, recreation, and domestic services. Applicants must be able to support themselves, maintain appropriate health coverage, and satisfy immigration and security requirements. Number 4, returning Dominican one-stop shop. A returning Dominican one-stop service will create a dedicated single point of contact to assist returning Dominicans with housing, business registration, school placement, licenses, utilities, and other essential services, making the process of returning home as simple and seamless as possible. Number 5, Mr. Speaker, Essential Skills and Entrepreneurship Residence Permit. A fast-track Essential Skills and Entrepreneurship Residence Permit will be offered to nurses, engineers, skilled tradespeople, and other qualified professionals who feel a verified national skills shortage, as well as genuine entrepreneurs who establish a viable business or employ Dominicans. The permit will be used only where there is a genuine national need or clear economic benefit. Its purpose is to fill critical gaps, create jobs, expand training, and transfer skills rather than displace Dominican workers. Citizenship by investment, long-term engagement. The Eastern Caribbean Citizenship by Investment Regulatory Authority Act, passed by the Parliament last October, introduces new requirements aimed at strengthening the relationship between economic citizens and Dominica. Under the Act, new citizens are required to 1, establish a genuine link to the country, 2, be physically present in Dominica for at least 30 days during the first 5 years after receiving citizenship, and 3, participate in approved integration programs. Government intends to ensure that these requirements are fully implemented and adhered to. This will encourage more Dominican citizens to spend extended periods in Dominica, purchase homes, establish businesses, invest in productive sectors, and become active participants in our economy. Mr. Speaker, to support this initiative, government will introduce a broader package of policies designed to make relocation, investment, and long-term residency more attractive. These will include identifying land for residential and investment development, providing incentives for second home ownership, retiring living and business establishment, streamlining investment facilitation, and preparing development plans for designated growth areas capable of accommodating new residential and commercial communities. Mr. Speaker, these measures provide practical routes through which Dominicans at home and abroad, returning families, skilled residents, and responsible long-stay visitors can help rebuild communities and strengthen the country's economic base. Mr. Speaker, securing the future. Mr. Speaker, a new look Dominica by 2030 requires a partnership between government, citizens, residents, investors, and friends of Dominica. But partnership begins with clarity about who benefits and how. Government has been playing its part by making financing available primarily through the Aid Bank and providing a range of fiscal incentives to encourage investment across the economy. Through import duty concessions, income tax holidays, and excise tax exemptions, we have supported businesses, large and small, to expand and invest in tourism, agriculture, manufacturing, small business development, and the services sector. These measures have helped stimulate investment and economic activity. This fiscal year, government will introduce additional policies aimed at reducing the cost of doing business, encouraging greater private investment, protecting business assets, creating jobs, and accelerating economic growth. These measures work through three connected channels: income, tax relief, continued relief on essential imports, and the end of tax compounding will provide direct household relief or create a condition for it to reach consumers. Commercial property and employment incentives, small business finance, and service reform widen the routes through which people can earn. Crop insurance and business vulnerability fund protect income and employment from being wiped out by disaster. Together, they follow the logic of the theme: protect what families have, strengthen how they earn, and secure their ability to recover. Mr. Speaker, beginning income year 2027, government will introduce two new allowable tax deductions for businesses. The first is a new capital allowance in respect of the construction and substantial reconstruction of commercial buildings offered for rent. And the second is a deduction for amount set aside for disaster financing. Deduction for new commercial rental buildings. Owners of qualifying commercial rental properties will be allowed an annual capital allowance equal to the lesser of 3% of the construction cost, or $30,000 per year, for up to 10 years after the building was constructed or substantially reconstructed. This will become effective in income year 2027. Mr. Speaker, for example, where a qualifying owner is entitled to the maximum annual allowance of $30,000, the resulting reduction in taxable income can lower the annual tax burden by as much as $7,500, subject to the applicable tax position. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, Business Vulnerability Fund deduction. Mr. Speaker, as one of the world's most climate vulnerable countries, Dominica understands better than most the importance of preparing before disasters strike and has first-hand experience of rebuilding repeatedly after severe weather. For this reason, government establishes the Vulnerability Risk and Resilience Fund in 2017 to strengthen our ability to respond quickly to natural disasters and reduce our financial vulnerability. As at 30th June 2026, the fund stood at EC 28.3 million. A number of government statutory bodies are also operating similar funds. Government now wishes to encourage the private sector to adopt a similar approach. Beginning income year 2027, a business that establishes an approved vulnerability fund will be allowed an annual income tax deduction equal to the amount contributed to the fund, up to a maximum of 0.5% of annual gross sales. These deductions will continue until the balance of the fund equals the net book value of the business's insurance fixed assets. Businesses wishing to participate must apply to the Comptroller of Inland Revenue for approval. Withdrawals will require authorization by the Comptroller, and any funds used for purposes other than disaster recovery or withdrawn without approval will become taxable. This measure allows approved contributions to a disaster reserve to be deducted in determining taxable income, thereby making it easier for a company to set aside its own resources before a shock rather than depending entirely on emergency assistance afterwards. Employment tax rebate. Mr. Speaker, in 2014, government introduced a tax rebate to encourage businesses to create new jobs and expand employment opportunities. The initiative had two clear objectives. One, to support new and growing businesses, and two, to encourage employers who had been mentoring participants under the National Employment Program to offer them permanent employment. The rebate was available for 1 year, from August 1st, 2014 to 31st July 2015. Under the program, employers were eligible to claim a rebate equivalent to 2% of the salary paid to each qualifying employee, up to a maximum of EC $600 per employee per year, with an overall cap of $6,000 per employer annually. Mr. Speaker, effective 1st October 2026, government will reintroduce this tax rebate for a period of 2 years. The rebate will remain at 2% of the salary paid to each qualifying employee during the employer's tax year. However, we are increasing the maximum annual rebate from $6,000 to $10,000 per employer. A business that creates qualifying new positions can reduce its annual tax liability by up to $10,000 for each of the 2 years, helping to offset the early cost of expanding its workforce. Mr. Speaker, income tax relief. Mr. Speaker, this government has been consistently reducing the income tax burden on working Dominicans. Indeed, from the very first year of this administration, we have maintained that working people in Dominica deserve to keep more of what they earn. When the Dominica Labour Party assumed office in 2000, the income tax structure comprised rates of 20%, 30%, and 40%, with a tax-free threshold of just $12,000. Mr. Speaker, following the country's economic recovery and our successful completion of the IMF-supported program, from 2009, government began providing meaningful income tax relief. We reduced the tax rates to 15%, 25%, and 35%. We also increased the tax-free threshold first to $25,000 and then to $30,000. We increased mortgage deductions from $15,000 on one property to $30,000 and $15,000 on a first and second property, respectively. We allowed deductions for student loans, home, and medical insurance. All of these have reduced the income tax burden on workers and removed thousands of Dominicans from the income tax net altogether. Mr. Speaker, this allows families to retain a greater share of their income. Today, despite a global environment marked economic uncertainty, this government will again provide relief to further empower the hardworking people of Dominica. It is therefore my pleasure, Mr. Speaker, to propose that effective January 1, 2027, the government will replace the income tax rates of 15%, 25%, 35% with a single flat rate of 10%. Mr. Speaker, this is a sacrifice the government is making to support the working people. Mr. Speaker, it is the most significant income tax relief ever granted to the people of Dominica. It will deliver meaningful savings to workers and make our tax system simpler and fairer. Mr. Speaker, let me break it down further. This measure will reduce the personal income tax burden of working residents whose income exceeds 30,000 personal allowance, while those earning 30,000 or less will continue to pay no personal income tax. The benefit is measured in money retained by the worker each month and each year. A person earning 4,000 monthly or 48,000 a year will retain an additional $75 each month or $900 a year. A person earning 5,000 monthly or 60,000 a year with personal allowance and no other deductions will see monthly income tax fall from 458 to 250. That is 208 retained each month or $2,500 per year. A person earning 7,000 monthly or 84,000 a year will retain approximately $541.67 more each month or $6,500 a year. Mr. Speaker, these are direct savings. A household with two earners, each bringing in $4,000 per month, could retain a combined $150 per month or $1,800 per year before any other applicable deductions. One family may use the savings for shopping, another to procure a mortgage or health insurance, another may decide to save some more for rainy days or reduce their debt, while others may start a small enterprise or pursue studies. The choice is yours. In short, Mr. Speaker, the relief gives the household more room to make it. All these measures, those in the past and the flat rate today, demonstrate how throughout the tenure of this government, we have been reducing the income tax burden on individuals, allowing them to keep more of their pay to invest and improve the lives of their families. A related measure, Mr. Speaker, is the removal of income tax on worldwide income, where residents and non-residents will be liable to pay income tax only on income earned in Dominica. The removal of taxation on worldwide income will encourage Dominican retirees, remote workers, and investors to make Dominica their home, knowing that only income earned in Dominica will be subject to tax. Firearms licenses, Mr. Speaker. Government has also undertaken a review of the fees associated with firearm licenses, taking into account the administrative and regulatory cost of the licensing regime and the need to ensure that these fees remain appropriate and reflective of current realities. Effective 1st October 2026, the annual fee for firearm license will be $1,000 EC. This adjustment forms part of government's review of selected fees and charges. Extension of VAT and import duty relief. Mr. Speaker, last year government took decisive action to shield Dominican families from the impact of rising global prices by extending the value-added tax exemption and import duty waivers on a range of essential goods through 31st July 2026. Those measures were introduced in response to persistent global economic uncertainties, including higher shipping costs and supply chain disruptions, all of which continue to place upward pressure on the prices of food and other essential commodities in small, import-dependent economies such as ours. Mr. Speaker, many of these external pressures remain. Government, therefore, believes it is prudent to continue providing this important relief to households. I am pleased to announce that the existing VAT exemptions and import duty waivers on the covered essential goods will be extended for a further 2 months until 30th September 2026. Importers, wholesalers, and retailers are expected to continue to pass this benefit on to the consumers. Let there be no misunderstanding. A concession granted by the state must not be converted into a larger private profit margin. Relief at the port becomes household relief only when it is reflected fairly in the shelf price. We will closely monitor prices to ensure that the intended savings reach our families. Mr. Speaker, for many years, citizens and businesses alike have expressed concerns about the administrative burdens associated with importing goods and the complexity of customs calculations. These concerns deserve careful attention. An efficient clearance system should facilitate commerce, not frustrate it. Your government is committed to modernizing the clearance systems at the ports of entry and reducing costs and delay. Mr. Speaker, this forms part of a broader strategy to improve the overall ease and cost of doing business in Dominica. Every unnecessary delay, duplicated document, unavoidable storage, or administrative costs is eventually reflected in the price paid by a consumer. Modernizing the clearance system is therefore a priority. Mr. Speaker, this government has examined the tax structure applied to imported goods and has decided to make some adjustments. At present, excise tax and VAT on imported goods are calculated not only on the cost, insurance, and freight, that's the CIF value, but also on other charges and taxes, including the customs service charge, environmental surcharge or levy, import duty and excise tax. Put simply, Mr. Speaker, one tax or charge is added to the base on which another tax is calculated. That is tax compounding. Mr. Speaker, effective October 1, 2026, government will end this practice. Excise tax and VAT will instead be calculated solely on the CIF value of imported goods. This CIF, this measure is a practical example of government reviewing its own systems. Government also has a clear expectation where relief is granted, it must be passed on to the consumer. Mr. Speaker, taken together, the measures including the insurance for farmers, which was mentioned earlier, form a connected household package. Income tax flat rate leaves more earnings with workers every month. VAT and import duty relief temporarily shields covered essentials, while the end of tax compounding permanently removes cost on imports. The import duty and excise tax concessions on garbage trucks, along with the employment and commercial property incentives, support the entrepreneurship, creation of jobs, and business activity. Vulnerability funds protect those jobs after disaster. The reform of the import clearance process and digitalization of the government services return time and reduce hidden expenses. Some measures provide cash relief, some create the conditions for income, and some prevent income from being lost. Together, they protect our progress, strengthen our independence, and secure our future. Mr. Speaker, it is imperative that citizens understand the magnitude of this national sacrifice. These measures are not costless. They represent revenues totaling $43.5 million annually that government is leaving with workers, households, businesses, instead of collecting for the treasury. Government is entrusting these funds to our citizens, confident that resulting gains in household income, investment, employment, and economic activity will justify the fiscal costs. Mr. Speaker, at the beginning of this address, I acknowledge that the road ahead is uncertain, but we do not enter this moment without experience. We know what it is to face danger. We know what it means to lose in a single night what took decades to build. Above all, we know what Dominicans can achieve when adversity confronts us. We rebuild, we adapt, we protect one another, we turn setbacks into opportunities for renewal. We may bend under pressure, but we do not break. We may be delayed, but we do not abandon the journey. This budget has been prepared in that spirit, not fear, but foresight, not retreat, but readiness, not surrender to uncertainty, but a decision to give Dominican household, workers, and businesses greater control over their future. Mr. Speaker, throughout our development journey, government has made deliberate choices. We choose investment over stagnation, rebuilding over retreat, and preparation over complacency. Those choices are now transforming lives across Dominica. A road is not simply asphalt and concrete. It is a safer journey to school, fewer vehicle repairs, a farmer reaching the market, and a business reducing the cost of moving goods. A hospital is not merely a building. It is faster emergency care, treatment closer to home, and protection against a medical crisis becoming a financial catastrophe. A school is far more than classrooms and walls. It is a textbook. A parent does not have to choose over groceries. A skill that opens a job and a reason for a young Dominican to build a future at home. Mr. Speaker, that is the household test applied throughout this address. Development is meaningful only when it reduces vulnerability, widens opportunity, and leaves people better able to face the next month and the next shock. This budget is a covenant between this government and the people of Dominica. A promise that even in a world of rising costs, climate shocks, and global uncertainty, we will not waver our duty to protect, to invest, and to build. The investments already made have prepared Dominica for a new phase. The measures in this budget now convert that foundation into household outcomes. More take-home money for working people, incentives for businesses to hire, finance that allows entrepreneurs to invest without exhausting family savings, reserves that help firms reopen after disasters, continued tax protection on essential imports, and an end to taxing one tax upon another. Mr. Speaker, economic progress ultimately depends on confidence. Confidence is earned through responsible leadership, sound financial management, political stability, strong institutions, and the consistent delivery of national priorities. Today, Dominica has earned that confidence. It is reflected in the scale of investments taking place across our countries, the growth of our productive sectors, and the determination of Dominican entrepreneurs who are expanding businesses, creating jobs, and driving economic activity. Mr. Speaker, the future before us is one of promise because the plan is connected. Resilient homes protect families. Education and health protect human capacity. Tourism, agriculture, fisheries, energy, and enterprise widen the ways we earn. Migration policy adds people and skills with safeguards for existing communities. And fiscal reform directs relief to wages, prices, jobs, and resilience. With unity, sound leadership, and the determination of our people, there is every reason to approach the future with confidence. We will protect our progress by defending the homes, services, incomes, and institutions our people already depend upon. We will strengthen our independence by producing more, generating our own energy, creating several engines of income, and making Dominic a better place to work and invest. We will secure our future by leaving more money with working families, reducing avoidable costs, protecting jobs from disaster, and preparing the country for uncertainty. Mr. Speaker, we rest on God's promise in Jeremiah 29, verse 11, where the Lord says, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Mr. Speaker, at this point, permit me to thank the Honorable Prime Minister and my cabinet colleagues, our partners both locally and internationally, the public officers involved in the preparation of the budget, specifically the Financial Secretary, Ms. Edwards, and the Secretary to the Cabinet, Ms. Prevost, the Treasurer, the Treasury, Customs and Inland Revenue staff, those who took time to participate in our consultations and made written submissions for inclusion in the budget, our prayer warriors, volunteers, friends, the media, and the technical team, and those attending this session and following the broadcast. Today I lay these estimates and policies before the Honorable House and the people of our beloved country with faith and with determination that the prosperity we create will be shared prosperity. May God continue to bless the Commonwealth of Dominica, and may He guide us as we do the work of the people. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, with the new income tax rate, I move that the House be adjourned until Thursday, 6. Well, I should say Saturday night. Debate done. I mean, are you debating that? Huh? No debate, right? Okay. But we adjourn. I move that the House be adjourned until Thursday, the 6th of August at 10 a.m.
In accordance to Rule 73(3), it has been moved and seconded that the House be adjourned until Thursday, 6 August 2026 at 10 a.m. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. Okay, House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Thursday, 6 August 2026.